Hello, so in my other video yesterday, I basically explained how I almost died last year. I almost died drowning in a river last year. It's really not funny. Why do I laugh, okay? And I asked you guys on Twitter if I should do a video explaining what exactly happened, how I nearly died, etc, etc. And all you sickos were like, yes, Spifey, I can't wait to hear how you almost died. How you almost died, you absolute sickos. I'm kidding. So yeah, this is the story of how I almost died. It's not funny, okay? How I almost died. Okay, so we'll start with context. Basically, I flew to America last year in like June. I was gonna stay there for like an entire month. Me and my friend Austin, aka the original Ace, you've probably seen his channel. We had a road trip planned all the way from Seattle down to LA. Now, it was gonna take weeks. I had no expectations. I'd been to America, I think once. And so I was still kind of like an alien in the country. Except I'm human. What does that even mean, okay? I'm tired, okay? Don't judge, this is a mess. So on the way down from Seattle, we basically stopped in Sacramento for a few days to stay with Ace's family. They're amazing, they're really nice, super welcoming, and yeah, a good time. So me, Austin, and his family went to Yosemite. It's American National Park, it's like huge. I had no clue what was there. I was like, okay, big park, big bears, snakes, I'm gonna die. No pun intended. The second day, we planned to go to this like valley, this like, I'll put a picture on the screen. This is where we went to, this massive rock, this huge rock thing. And so this river, I forgot the name, it's some massive wide river. You can probably find it on Google. It's basically in Yosemite, and people were like, you know, having fun times. It was the peak of summer. This was July 2019 of the summer. And so people were going down this river in like rafts, in like canoes, like all these amazing things. It was a great day, everyone was laughing. You know, how could this possibly go wrong, George, you know? How could I always die from this? And then this, for me, is where it went downhill. So I decided to have an amazing idea. I was like, you know what, Austin? We should swim across the river. What a great idea, George. Now, here's a picture from the video. Yes, there is a video of me dying. There's a video of me dying, basically, yes. So here's a picture from the video. Basically, it's really pixelated. I downloaded it, I messed up the quality, but regardless, look on the other side of the river. You're probably like, oh, that's strange. How come there's no one else on the other side of the river? Oh, maybe because no one is dumb enough to try and swim across it. Easy river to swim across. It's not like there's rafts and stuff getting washed down the river at high speed. And we didn't realize exactly how cold the water would be. I think it was melt water. So it came from ice caps. It was like freezing cold. Like it would like literally numb your body. And we jumped straight into it. And then I was like, okay, you know, what's the worst that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? Yeah, you know. And we also underestimated how fast the water was flowing and how strong the current was. It was washing you downstream. So basically, you know, when you enter the river, it was a sharp drop. And in the middle, you couldn't stand up. It was like, I'm pretty tall, but it was like at least like 15 feet, 10 feet deep, right? You couldn't touch the bottom. You couldn't like walk across. You had to swim at a good speed to beat the current. Only I didn't realize how fast I would have to try and swim before I got in the water. I started to realize in the back of my mind, I'm like, okay, this is actually a really, really dangerous situation. I like how I realized that after I can't turn back. I was already in the middle of the river, the strongest current. And I started getting washed down the river. And I was at this point, I was like, okay, to stay calm, you're not gonna die, you're not gonna drown, it'll be okay. But I made the mistake of wearing my glasses, trying to swim across so I could see, right? I didn't bother to put my contact lenses in that day. So if I couldn't see, you know, what's the point of crossing it? So I kept my glasses on, I couldn't hold them in the water. And so I was trying my best effort to keep my head out of the water and not get them splashed, let them fall in the river. If my glasses fell in the river, I wouldn't be able to see for the next 2 weeks on the American trip. It was like ruined. I made every effort to keep my head out of the water at the expense of my life. I started to go slightly under the water, right? And so at that point, it's like in those movies, right? And then I started swallowing water, which is not a good thing to do. It's like in those movies, you know, where someone's like drowning and they'll make that like that sound when you run out of air. It was like that. I could hear that sound in my lungs, and at that point, I laugh now in hindsight, but genuinely, That's not a situation you want to ever be in. And so I started trying to swim even faster to, you know, get across the river, sort the situation out so I could breathe. But doing so started splashing the water in my own face somehow. You can look, just look at this, okay? I was trying to swim, the water was splashing inside my mouth, and I started swallowing it until I literally had no oxygen left, right? And at that point, I feel so sorry. Austin's family, if you're watching this, I'm still sorry. This is probably a really bad memory. I get like slight PTSD from rivers now. Your like prehistoric, like primitive caveman survival instincts kick in. And at that moment in my brain, I was like, okay, if I don't swim, I am actually going to die right now. Like it was that moment it clicked. I was like, my life is genuinely going to end. That's not funny, okay? I think I realized that everyone was kind of worried. Everyone thought I was like in a bad situation. And I knew I was, because I pretty much got close to drowning. And so yeah, I kept coughing, the water came out my lungs, I assume not much went in, because I didn't have to go to hospital. And so the sole reason for crossing this river was basically to get to a hammock on the other side. And now little did we know, okay, there was a bridge the entire time. So yeah. And that's how and that pretty much sums it up, the story of how I almost died. Good times. good times, you know, yeah. Don't try this at home. Don't try this at home. How can you even do that? Okay, this is so dumb.